This is going to be hard to, because it's
How are
really
you going
easy
to
to try and
introduce this
explain
one
it.
then, babe?
Hello and welcome to Rusted Junk. We are going to do something a little different here. We're trialing this because we think it's going to work. Or sorry, I'll rephrase that. I think it's going to work.
Or it could go horribly wrong.
Or I can't see how it would go horribly wrong.
Or
because
it's just going to be a bit of a mess. But anyway, you get to listen to us for about 45 minutes.
45 minutes.
About stuff in the 80s.
No more than an hour, but 45 because there's an important football match today. Well, for some. So what we've done is we've gone to a site called Stuck in the 80s, and we've gone and looked at things that happened this week, as in from this week, from today, the 26th of February up to the 5th of March.
I didn't.
Except you didn't. And Dom didn't just an hour and a half ago. So it's fine. We're going to take things that happened in that week and we're just going to chat about them because we chat about 80s films all the time, and we just thought, well, why not just extend it to other things? Because we bring TV shows in, snacks, cultural things across the cultural differences with Joe. Yeah, so why not?
Honestly, I'm clutching at more straws than a masturbating scarecrow here. We'll give it our best shot, eh?
Okay, I'm not sure. Do I have to take the explicit?
Is that actually a phrase, Dom? Or have you just
Well,
made that up?
there's a cruder version, but yeah, I thought that might keep us under the profanity filters.
I'm not sure. I think we might have just tipped over him slightly, but I think we're all right. It's okay.
I got to write that one down.
Oh, he's full of them. But anyway, so what we've done is we've each taken 3. In certain cases, Dom maybe 2.
And I've only done 1.
Amanda's done 1, but a completely different brief.
It's
God
on
knows
topic,
where she went.
Though. It's on topic. It
Right.
fits the parameters. It's fine.
Okay. So what we hope to do is entertain you and regale you with our knowledge, our in certain cases ignorance. Just basically, just probably learn a lot about American stuff from Joe that we didn't know before, which isn't a bad thing, I suppose. We might make it more British centric next time, but let's see how this goes. We picked an American site. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first because I've only got one topic. And
yeah,
if
but
you
one topic that lasts probably 15 hours. But yeah, go on.
It's quite rude. Okay, so
Right.
what I've done is I've looked at films from 1980 through to 89, and films that were released around sort of February, March time. Okay, but not all films, because we'd just be here forever, and some of the films I don't even know about anyway. But that's not a bad thing, I suppose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just call out some films I remember. And then we can have a chat about them. Some things I've never seen, in fact, but I know about, but not in detail, only the film title. This is going to go really bad, isn't it?
It feels like top secret. This is not Melt or May. That's not what I asked for. But still, okay. Well, it's a podcast of 2 halves. There we go. Who's the first one?
Right. Okay. So February 1980. We'd got the release of American Gigolo.
Yeah.
The Fog.
Ooh.
I've never actually watched The Fog.
I thought she said a curse word for a second.
Is that
horror? You won't watch it.
Is it about fog?
It's about things that are in the fog. Yeah.
Things in the fog. What, the fog's made of things? Or...
No, the fog's got ghosts in it.
If this fog goes, it won't be missed. That line's in there.
Oh, very... oh god, this is a bad idea. But all right, okay. Okay.
Caligula.
Okay, yeah, we discussed that on the 2010 podcast, but yeah, the reason why we liked it, yeah.
It was a porn film, wasn't it?
Not really, but it depends which way you looked at it. It could be highbrow art, or it could be a skin flick. It's entirely up to whichever way you want to look at it.
A skin flick?
Yeah.
Oh, is that what they're called?
Well, that's what they were called, yeah.
I did not know that.
Okay.
Well, I did. I really quick. I wanted because I did listen to a podcast where they talked about Caligula, and Malcolm McDowell was on, friend of the show.
Oh yes.
And he said basically Bob Guccione owned Penthouse, which is like the competitor of Playboy in the United States. I don't know if you guys got Penthouse over there.
Oh,
Yeah.
Penthouse.
I'm familiar with their output. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So he bought the rights to the movie and he changed it around where they filmed a movie that wasn't as bad as the end result, but he added a lot of porn in there, like I guess like maybe a year later. So like Malcolm McDowell said, I goes, I'd be looking at a bird and just looking inquisitive. And he goes, but then when I watched the movie, the bird was removed and there were two lesbians having sex,
Oh.
So yeah, that's what
he said.
Yeah.
He was looking at a bird. Yeah.
Couple of birds.
All right.
So it is a bit of a porn film in a way.
Caligula.
Bit.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I've never watched it. That's not the one with Joan Collins in, is it?
No.
Helen
Mirren, isn't
I'm
it?
thinking of. Was it the
Stud?
The Stud? Ah, right. Okay.
Can we do a season of films Amanda's never watched? Because there are some absolute belters that we could introduce you to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, weird. Because I think we should change the title of the podcast or the direction of the podcast to be Forgotten 80s Movies That Amanda Hasn't Watched. Yeah, that's great. That's a really good idea.
Well, I
was
just
like
balanced
season 1.
things out, though. I balanced things out a bit.
Well, it's like season 1, which was I introduced you to Iron Eagle, which you hated, and Chances Are, which you kind of liked.
Yeah.
And Prancer, which everyone universally hated. So, yeah, it's fine.
Okay, so February 1981.
Serious? This is right. Are we going to do?
This is quite good because we're
going to do every
films.
How many films? But we've got 3 things each to discuss.
Yes,
and we've got
exactly. So shush then. Right. So February 81, The Dogs of War. Anybody seen that?
No, I never seen
British thing.
Oh, okay.
Oh, this is
February 82. Das Boot.
That's why this is just a random sprinkle. It's a random scattering of films.
Well, I'd read them all out.
With little time to discuss each of them.
No one would know what they were anyway.
Should we just nod and go, did we like it? Yeah, or no, we didn't like it. Yeah.
Right. Death Wish 2.
Okay.
Swamp Thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Did you say Hump Thing?
Swamp.
Oh,
Thing.
Swamp. Okay.
That was a cult classic, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was it the first one?
Death Wish 2.
Oh, not really. Over here, anyway.
Right, February 1983. See, this is a
right. I'm putting an end to this now.
February 1983.
Right.
We had.
It's funny though.
Pirates of Penzance, which was a musical that was released.
You're gonna come up with a good movie eventually.
We'll hit one.
The Sting 2.
Wait a minute. The what?
The Sting 2.
No, the Thing 2.
No, the Sting.
Oh, right. Okay. Didn't even know they made a sequel.
And then Footloose.
Hey, we got one. We got one.
Footloose. Oh, that was 84. Footloose.
Okay.
And in March 84, this is Spinal Tap.
Yeah.
Yes.
February 85, we've got Witness.
This almost feels like a quick fire round that people may come back to and go, "Oh,
exactly.
I remember that."
Witness.
Dom
and
didn't
The Breakfast
like
Club. There you go.
Yeah.
Breakfast Club was released in February 85.
Excellent.
It's like being on Jeopardy and like
not
giving
being
an
able
answer.
to answer.
Yeah, and saying like, "What are things in my kitchen?"
Yeah,
films on my list. Right, okay. March 1985.
Last year. This is the last year because we'll be here all day.
Oh, come on, Amanda. You ignore it. You plough through.
Right. Okay. February 1986. We're getting into some good films now. The Hitcher, 9.5 weeks.
Yeah.
House.
Yes.
Pretty in Pink.
Yes.
Care Bears Movie 2.
Classic.
Highlander. Highlander was released in March 1986. And A Room with a View. God, did you ever watch that? That was so boring.
A Room with a View. Go ahead, Dom. But I got it.
Highlander would be worth revisiting on a future pod because that's been interesting. You know, well received at the time. I suspect doesn't hold up at all.
I don't think it would.
The sequels weren't very good though, were they?
I preferred the sequel.
Oh, did you? Oh, okay.
So I got to say, man, I got a beef here. A Room with a View is one of my favorite movies. I love that movie.
Ooh, touching the nerve there.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think it's a
Really?
masterpiece. And what happened to Julian Sands? Did they ever find him?
No, I don't think they did, no. But thank you, Julian Sands, for Arachnophobia.
Right, February 87.
right.
We've got
Honestly, we've got
we've only got
but
two
it's
in
already
there.
been 15 minutes.
Gosh.
It's already taken a
Mannequin.
third.
Oh, Mannequin, yeah. No,
Yes,
Yes.
Mannequin. See, we did that film. Didn't hold up very well, did it?
Oh, it was all right. Kim Cattrall's.
well,
It was
the
all
premise
right.
of- The
Carries
premise
that
of it's deranged, isn't it? You know, that man
Content.
falls in love with a mannequin, and yeah. What-
Content didn't translate particularly well to this day and age.
Yeah,
did
it's got Andrew McCarthy in, so it can't be all bad.
it?
And
What
James
else?
Spader.
February 87, Some Kind of Wonderful.
Woohoo!
A Nightmare on Elm Street 3. And then in March 1987, we got Lethal Weapon.
Woohoo! Remind me, who started Some Kind of Wonderful? Would that be Eric Stoltz by any chance? Yes. Oh, managed to get it in there again.
I'm telling you right now, no one saw it over in America.
They did, Joe. Loads of people saw it.
February 88, She's Having a Baby.
Good for well, it doesn't hold up as much, but it's still okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then again, we've got Bloodsport,
Oof.
Hairspray.
Yeah.
February 89, The Fly 2.
No one saw
Starring anybody? Eric Stoltz. Oh,
Yeah, again, no one saw
it's
that.
an Eric Stoltz-a-thon. Yes. You're gonna say Memphis Belle? Oh no, that was 1990.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Oh,
Was it
now we're
89?
talking. Now we're talking.
Can't believe that. I thought I was in like the 90s.
Right, well, that was lovely. I think we take an
Hang on.
interlude.
Hang
No,
on.
I think we take an
March.
interlude.
Wait a minute, last thing. March 89. Chances are,
Yay.
and then I'll finish on a film I will never hope ever to see. Police Academy 6, City Under Siege.
Yeah, to be honest, that's pretty dreadful.
There you go.
You have finished on a high because we have talked about that at great length. Police Academy 1, fantastic, as we did, Don. Police Academy 6, good lord. Good lord. Right, so there was the first warm-up, which was Amanda reading out a list of films for your delectation and your appreciation. There.
Some of which we have reviewed.
Yeah. Some of what, by all means, if you want
Most
to go in, if you want to have more analysis than just a couple of lines from each of us on each film, then by all means go and look at the films that we have done, because that's all we had time for. Right, so I'll go first with one of my
First?
things.
I went first.
No, first in the actual thing that we planned to do. So yeah,
You're just rude.
no, not
Very
really.
dismissive.
Anyway, well, you know, sorry and all that. February the 28th, 1983. Joe will know the answer to this question. The other two, you may not. The final episode of MASH aired in the States.
I did like MASH. I never watched it.
Oh god, it's one of the best shows. Well, top 3 shows of all time. Final episode of MASH aired in the States. How many people watched it?
3.
Can I say a lot?
Anyone want to take a guess? It's in the millions.
Even in this country, it was popular, wasn't it? So
It was.
I don't know. What we can say? What's the population in America? 300 million. Let's say one in. What do we think? 1 in 5. I don't know.
Okay. It was 1 in 3. It was
Yeah.
watched by 106 million people. The finale.
Bad.
106 million people. I remember it fondly because I used to watch it with my dad. It was a big thing. So when it came to the final episode, it just felt like a finality, between me and him doing that particular thing. I mean, even though we watched all the reruns as well, but it just felt like the end of it. I just before we go on to the what I wanted to say about the viewership, it was a wonderful exchange between the two, between Alan Alda's character and so it's Hawkeye and BJ. So the two of them talking at the end, it was just an outpouring of uh, they say to each other, you know, he says, I want you to know how much you mean to me. And he says, I won't be able to shake you. I can't imagine what this place would have been like without you. And I left you a note. And I remember being at a quiz and somebody said, what is the last line said in MASH? And I knew what it is. BJ says, I've left you a note. And Alan Alda, because he's in the chopper, goes, what? And that's the final line. And as he takes up, he's erected in stones. He's put goodbye and he's in stones. As the helicopter lifts up, that's how he can see the message. Wonderful. However, a third of the population watching one episode. Let's look at the law of dwindling and how we're changing at the moment. I think this probably would deserve a podcast on its own to look at this. But from another point of view, how many people watched the Grammys in 1984? 51 million. 51 million people watched the Grammys in 84, which is considered a good year. Last year, 8 million watched the Grammys, which is one of the the last 3 years have been the worst 3 years for the Grammys from viewership. I know people are changing how they watch things.
It's less about
changing
content.
What they watch as well, because there's so much
exactly
to tap into. And
like we only had
people don't necessarily have that traditional working day, do they? These days.
Yeah, like we had 5 channels to choose from, and now we have hundreds.
Yeah.
So like if you during prime time you had to watch something, and probably 4 of the other channels had something sucky on. So you were forced to watch the Grammys.
Plus we've got on demand now, so we can watch what we want, when we want, how we want. We don't even have to be in front of a telly.
People are watching less TV anyway, aren't they?
Yeah.
So it's not just more choice, it's fewer people actually doing it. You know, people have moved on.
But then you look at number 2 on the list, and it was the final episode of Cheers, watched by 84.4 million people.
So what are you saying? That MASH is the number one watch show?
Number one was the number one watch show. It held the record until 2010, which is when the Super Bowl beat it for amount of people watching at that time. So it held the record for a long time.
If you look at the top 10 list in this country, it tends to be sporting events or major news events, doesn't it? It's not like coronation.
Well, EastEnders, when for anyone that's not in Britain and over a certain age, but EastEnders when Den gave Angie divorce papers. I think pretty much everyone in the country might have been tuning in at that point.
What about Live Aid?
Well, yeah, I mean
that was watched around the world.
But it didn't beat the amount of people were watching it in the particular. This is just the US. It's interesting to note when you look at it, Breaking Bad, which is considered. I mean, I don't like it, but I think I'm very much alone on that. That said, it beat the expectations by getting 10.3 million people for the final episode. And you look at that curve, and you're absolutely right. It's because there's more stuff to watch. But if MASH was competing now with, one of the others, would it have got the? You're probably right, Joe. It probably wouldn't have got the people watching in that it did. But
what about Netflix? I wonder what
that was my thing that I took from there. So, Dom, do you want to go? What have you got?
As you're saying, there are only 2 fictional things in the UK top 10 most watched, and that is the EastEnders one that you referenced when Angie and Den got divorced, and Coronation Street, Hilda Ogden leaves Weatherfield. I bet you never thought that'd feature on Rusted Junk when you set the pod up, did you? But, everything else is Apollo 13, Slashdowns, Way for the 2020 Cup Final, Diana's funeral, etc.
Wow.
Boris Johnson's address on COVID-19, but I don't want to get us into any controversial areas on the pod.
Well, I think you already have by just mentioning it, but still.
I was going to say in the US, back when TV first came out, there were 15 million TVs in the 50s. 11 million people are watching I Love Lucy every week.
Wow.
Because you don't have the choice. Well, as I say, you don't have the choice, but at least you had the quality. I mean, even now, I've got to say, there's been nothing like MASH since. There's been nothing funnier since Cheers.
Well, I wanted to say, I mean, I know you wanted to go on to Dom, but my problem with MASH is I did watch the last episode, but I gave up on it years before because they were too preachy. They lost the comic element, or it was just a sidebar. But for the most part, MASH was really funny in the early 70s.
Yeah.
And they lost a lot when they lost Frank Burns, the actor.
Yeah.
Also, who's McLean Stevenson? Who did he play before, the guy before Potter?
Oh, Colonel Blake.
Yeah, Blake was incredible.
Yeah, he was.
And then Trapper. I thought Trapper was much better than BJ Honeycutt.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it was better with the old crowd, and Dad never forgave the makers of MASH by killing Colonel Blake off by radar coming in and going, "Oh, his plane's crashed."
Oh, that was horrible.
What is that? The send off that he gets? It's ridiculous. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, Dom, what have you got?
Sorry, the most watched.
We're never going to get to 3 o'clock.
Netflix. Right, at the moment, the most watched Netflix is Stranger Things season 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's got. It says it's quoted an insane 1.352 billion hours.
And what's got the record on Amazon Prime? Does anyone want to guess? Because I actually read this today.
Well, they lie. I think they said like 1 billion people watched the first 2 episodes of
Rings of Power.
Rings of Power.
Yeah,
and then it ended up that wasn't true.
They were counting when you stay on it and it automatically plays. They were counting that as a watch. It was like, no, that's just people deciding what they want to do, and just nip for a cup of tea or something stronger. Clarkson's Farm, the second one, is the highest rated show on Amazon Prime.
For the UK.
You mean?
For the UK, well, the UK, yeah.
Yeah. Top TV shows on Amazon Prime in 2022: The Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power.
Yeah, right.
Followed by The Boys, followed by Reacher, The Terminal List, and The Peripheral. I've only ever watched The Boys on that.
You watched Reacher. We got about halfway through it.
Did we? Oh,
yeah.
It wasn't horrible then, was it?
Well, you don't like it. Anyway, right now, Dom, sorry.
Are we doing one of mine?
Yeah, we are. Yeah. What have you got?
Well, I don't think we're going to get a chance to do everybody's selections, are they? So you can pick which one of ours we do. So I've got, I think Amanda mentioned them earlier, I've got it being 27th of February, 87, Nightmare on Elm Street 3 released. I've got the 26th of February 1988 saw Bloodsport released. Or I went for a music one, which is essentially what's your favourite Madonna song, because it was also the Like a Prayer was released on the 3rd of March in 1989, and that's my favourite Madonna song. So which one do you want to go for? Bloodsport maybe is the most promising.
Yeah, because we have looked at Bloodsport and the effect that it had.
Is that Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Yeah.
Wham Bam, thank you, Van Damme.
That's the one where Forrest Whitaker was in it, and that podcast that we listen to, Dom, the Chat the Movies. They say, what is Forrest Whitaker doing in this film? Now I've got to remind you, Amanda, because you don't, because I know you've got a memory like a sieve. Forrest Whitaker was one of the 2 people that went over to the Kumite to bring Jean-Claude Van Damme back because he'd gone AWOL.
Okay.
And basically that they just ended up finding him in the hotel bar. He wasn't particularly very good at evading justice. He just hung out in really public places with very prominent people, so he was hiding in plain sight. Bloodsport was an anomaly.
Yeah, but I was more exploring the back. So I think as a film, it's a good film if you're in the right sort of mood. And I read a review in preparing for this pod, and the LA Times got it right, I think, which is hacking through some of the jungle of cliche and reservoir of bad acting in Bloodsport. There's some pretty exciting matches, which is probably fair enough. But I thought what was interesting about the film is that it allegedly tells a true story of Frank Dux, a martial arts expert who claimed to participate in and win the Kumite, however you pronounce it, an underground secret fighting tournament. Whether or not the events are strictly real, he does have a tendency to exaggerate stories about his own career. And some of his backstory, I think, which has been largely debunked, is he had childhood ninja training. He was offered $25,000 to kill Steven Seagal. He claims he was awarded a Medal of Honor in a secret ceremony for his service in Southeast Asia. I think his official record, the only reference to him is that he fell out of the back of a truck and never left San Diego. He provided the only known witness who verified his Kumite story, but who subsequently recanted. He said he worked as a covert CIA operative. And even if all of his stories aren't exactly true, it's certainly a movie that I feel is worth watching with a few beers inside you on a Friday night if there's nothing better on. But I thought his world records were worth citing here because they are slightly dubious. He still claims to hold 4 world records. The fastest knockout, which is 3.2 seconds. The fastest punch with a knockout.
These are all at the Kumite.
Yeah. Which somehow exceeds his fastest knockout record. So his fastest punch with a knockout, 0.42 seconds, so less than half a second after the fight starts. His fastest kick with a knockout was measured allegedly at 72 miles per hour, which implies that they were all stood there with police speed guns permanently on the contestants just to measure the speed of his roundhouse. And then I thought that the most amusing of all was the most consecutive knockouts in a single tournament at 56, which implies it was a very, very long tournament, or potentially that he won consecutive tournaments over a number of years, winning every single fight by knockout. But either way, easy to scoff at him, but he's clearly.
Does it say how many? Does it say how many were kicked in the face?
Yeah, in slow motion with the sweat spraying out after he'd been hit.
It's a very wet film, isn't it? That one.
Well, Amanda, you tell me. I don't know, but Van Damme is.
I commented it.
She likes him, of course.
We watched Bloodsport, didn't we?
We did. We did it on the podcast, sweetheart. Yeah.
I know.
So we've had to watch it.
Referring to, and just the lady, I presume it was a lady, with a spray gun was kept very, very, very busy, wasn't she, for that film?
Yes, very. There's a lot of sweat, a lot of blood, a lot of broken bones.
So I have a question for Dom. So he was paid $25,000 to kill Steven Seagal. What happened to that?
Sadly for all of us, he didn't go through with his mission, and Steven Seagal lived to fight another day and to make another movie, which I think after Under Siege he could have possibly have retired to the betterment of society. But yeah,
you got Nico. You got Nico, Marked for Death. Under Siege 2.
I wasn't expecting a staunch defense of Steven Seagal.
Well, he's not. He's all right.
He's all right.
Better than Jean-Claude Van Damme.
He's not all right now.
No.
You could give his eulogy, Charlie. I think that'd be the highest compliment.
I love the guy. Well, he was married to Kelly McGillis for... not Kelly McGillis. Who am I thinking of? Weird Science.
LeBrock.
Kelly LeBrock, yeah. Yeah, 4 years.
Fair play. And he got to film that scene with Erica Eleniak.
Yes.
If I was him, I'd have taken multiple takes to have got that scene in the bag. Yeah. So who's laughing now, eh? Yeah, Steven Seagal. That was the last line.
Well, okay. That went all over the place, which is great. Excellent. Joe, you've got something obscure you said that none of us would have ever guessed.
Yeah, because this was by accident. Because when I first started doing this, I went to the site, and since it was the 25th, they opened up the 25th. And I was like, I'm going to do this one because even though it's not in the date range, because I have a beef with this one.
Ooh.
So February 25th, 1986, the 28th Annual Grammy Awards aired on CBS, and We Are the World was Song of the Year.
Oh, dear me.
I'm sorry, that song sucks. I mean,
absolutely.
Regardless of how much money that song may have raised, it's not a very good song. You can't dance to it. You don't want to sing the lyrics to it. The lyrics sucks. The music sucks. How the hell could that have won Song of the Year?
Yeah, we got Bob Dylan and Michael Jackson in the same song.
Well, you got a lot of people. That was one thing I was curious about. Who was left out and why? And
there was so Paul Simon was in the video, but he never sang.
Yeah, he's kind of like a backup singer, like Dan Aykroyd is also there. Yeah,
because Paul Simon's backup singer, of course he is.
But Prince, where was Prince? So Prince was invited. He was. What's that? Well, he was supposed to have a big role. He was supposed to be next to Michael Jackson, and they were supposed to be trading barbs back and forth, and so he pulled out. And there's multiple stories. It's probably because he's got a big head. I think he thinks he was better than everybody, and he didn't want to hang out with all of them. That's what I think his guitarist said. It's like he just didn't want to be a part of it, and he's used to doing things alone. So
I think, didn't he suffer with anxiety a lot as well, Prince? He was very much a very insular kind of person, wasn't he? Very private.
He might have been, but I know he just was. Yeah, he was a recluse for sure. But him and Michael Jackson didn't get along. Like they were very competitive and they hated each other. So I mean, that could be part of it too. Even though the two of them were supposed to sing, back and forth, like kind of do a little duel on this song, which kind of sucks. I would have liked to seen. I mean, I'm not a huge Prince fan. I think he was overrated myself. But they also said that it could have been that he went partying that night because it was after the American Music Awards that they all got together. But this was planned before it, but they're like, all right, guys, after the American Music Awards, we're going to go into the studio and we're going to record this track. And so he went partying, and then two of his bodyguards ended up getting in a fight, and they were in jail, and he had to bail them out. But there's so many stories, and apparently he decided at the last minute he didn't want to go, so he sent Sheila E. Do you guys remember Sheila E?
Yeah. You got the look.
Yeah, because she's in the video,
Yeah.
And so she kept calling him and saying, you need to be here, there's so many famous singers here. It'll be really sad if you're not in it. And he's just used to playing alone. So I think he called Quincy Jones, because Quincy Jones was the conductor and producing it. And he says, can I come in and just do a guitar track, like a riff and all that? And he said, no. He says, if you're not going to come and sing with everybody, we don't want you. But that would have been cool if he was there. Madonna was not there. And her management told her not to do it because she was starting her Like a Virgin tour. And they feel like it would have conflicted. But that was stupid because she really should have been there. Even regardless, I mean, I know the song sucks. She really should have been there.
Wait a minute. So I was thinking something like a minute ago, and now I feel something different. If you recorded it now, We Are the World, and say, presumably you wouldn't get any of the greats. You get like non-entities like Cardi B or God knows, people like that turning up, and they're all trying to out-glitz each other and out-glam each other. It'd be horrific. Imagine that song with those horrific. Anyway, fine. It didn't do Prince any harm by not going, but imagine now it'd be like, not only would they be fighting each other to get there, but the ones that didn't want to go would be cancelled. Would be right. Don't listen to their music anymore because don't listen to them. They don't want. They obviously don't care about starving kids in Ethiopia. And
no, it'd be the other way. If you participated, you'd be held against you as some sort of white savior complex. Maybe not in the case of Prince, but if you're an artist doing those these days, you've got to be really careful of that whole vibe as well.
Oh yeah, forgot about the charity. Yeah, okay. Ooh, the chessboard of cancellation that we have to deal with these days. Knight to Rook 2.
So Wailing Jennings, did you guys hear him?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they sang in Every Which Way But Loose.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was a country music star. So he was there and he didn't like the lyrics, so he left. And now I look back on it and it's like, good for you. I would have said the same thing. It's like, this song sucks. Who the hell wrote it? It's like Michael Jackson and not Lionel Richie.
I get Diana Ross. I get Lionel Richie. I get I get that. But Bob Dylan turns on. I'm like, you're better than this. What are you doing here?
Well, this is what annoys me too, is that at first I thought it was like very uninclusive that they decided who the hell they wanted, because there are so many American musicians that probably should have been there that weren't there. And it's like,
where was Leif Garrett? Yeah, where was Leif Garrett?
Leif Garrett, are you serious?
Yes.
He was non-existent. I feel bad for this, John Denver. So John Denver wanted to be part of it, and he heard it was going to take place, and he asked if he could be part of it, and they told him no, because they felt that him being there would hurt the sales or the credibility of the song. But I was like,
what?
Yeah.
Okay.
As part of our transatlantic rivalry, we can say without fear of contradiction that Do They Know It's Christmas Time wipes the floor with the song anyway. And
Too right. Yeah.
And I still sing that each year in an unironic way with a few beers inside me at Christmas. And
absolutely. Yeah. No, we don't recognise the other two.
No, I'm tearing up.
Sorry,
here.
3.
Can you edit in maybe national anthem at this point in the pod, do you think, so our listeners can get the full effect?
Oh, okay, well, I'll do my best.
The national anthem.
I think I'm only allowed to play a few seconds, but yeah, I'm sure I'll be able to get away with it.
It's
I'll
probably
be honest with you. I know you guys like that song. I'm not crazy about that one either. But yeah, I will say it wipes the floor with "We Are the World," but
Most things do.
it's probably because we only hear it now. Well, I guess you guys hear it at the same time during Christmas time, and I don't know. Did that win Song of the Year when that came out?
There's a great well, I like it at least. Gavin and Stacey, good scene in that when they're singing along to Feed the World. You know, on Amanda, Charlie?
Yeah, Gavin and Stacey, yeah.
Yeah, all right, well, I'm going to send it out on our for listeners on our group WhatsApp, which is private to the four of us. I'm going to send it out.
We'll put it in the YouTube links. We actually should put them in the links.
Well, Gavin and Stacey had who's the guy we don't want back?
You know, James Corden, you'll keep it
James
in.
Corden,
There's no
yeah.
way he's coming back.
Yeah, no, you can keep them. You can have them.
Harry, Meghan, keep them all. Keep
Well,
them
that's
lot.
not fair.
Yeah. We got inundated with saccharine people. You gave us Kim Kardashian. Yeah, cheers for that.
Oh, God.
So this is our retaliatory shot.
So the dudes
Boom.
that sang in your version of which was the original one. So I mean, the ones I remember: Bono, Boy George, some guys from
Paul
Duran
Young.
Duran.
All one word.
Who's that?
Gavin and Stacey reference. Midjo.
Never heard of him.
Paul Young.
Who?
Paul Young.
Ultravox.
Never heard of them.
You never heard of Paul Young?
Right, there's gonna be.
I've heard of Paul. He has one song.
He's got about 10 songs.
Every time you go away, that's all I know him from.
George
Love of the
Michael
Common
was in it.
People.
Oh, George
Right.
Michael was there. Okay.
Yeah.
Boy
Sting-
George.
No,
he
I
did,
said I said Boy George.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sting did the bitter sting of tears. That was his line.
That's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, there should have been more Sting in there.
Simon Le Bon.
Really hits often.
By the way, it was
Phil
only
Collins.
about 2 weeks ago that Amanda listened to Money for Nothing, and she went, and I said, "That's Sting. That's Sting in the song." She went, "What? That's Sting singing in Money for Nothing." I'm like, "Where have you been for the last 40 years?"
Oh, the I Want My MTV, that bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he sings in the chorus as well. He sings in the.
Oh, what was the other thing we were watching on telly the other day? I always feel like somebody's watching me.
Yeah.
That one.
By
and
Rockwell,
Michael Jackson sings.
Yeah,
that
Michael
one.
Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty cool.
That was another crappy song that
Oh,
you had Michael Jackson in it. That's what made it a hit over here. That
Joe-
would have never been played.
Joe, I'm
here.
going to see a Michael Jackson tribute act on Friday.
Oh, are you really?
I am in a stadium, in an arena.
Bring that camera.
Yep, it'll be on Charlie Good Goer. Absolutely,
It's not going to be a full arena.
It is. It's sold out. It's sold out.
Yeah, but it'll be half the arena. They're not going to
Well,
have
it's
a whole
half-
arena.
Well, it's half the arena, but that's still
Yeah.
thousands of people. Yeah.
Half the amount of a normal arena.
There'll be
Full
plenty
disclosure.
of dark curtains draped at the back of that. Yeah.
I've seen him already at a festival called Glaston Budget, which I go to every year. But yeah, I'd be looking forward to seeing him in an arena capacity.
No, I
There
think
we
it's
go.
gonna be cool. He's a good moonwalker and all that.
Oh, it does all. I've seen. I mean, I'm not being funny. When I watched him at Glaston Budget in a field in Leicestershire, I had to check my phone just to check that Michael Jackson actually was dead because I wasn't entirely sure that this wasn't him. I think when you hone an art, when you have to live up to something like that, you have to be perfect. You can't be middleway and try to moonwalk a little bit and go, oh, I'm really done that
Like
yet."
watching your drunk uncle at a party.
The voice is good, but he can't dance. His voice has got to be spot on. The dance has got to be spot on. The moves have got to be spot on. The inflections have got to be. And I'm just like, can't wait to see that. But anyway,
If he hasn't got a pet chimp, I'd demand a refund.
Throws crap at the crowd.
I think midway through he goes into an oxygen tank. So
I'm forever blowing bubbles. Is going to be a
hey,
joke.
Oh.
very good, very good,
Jeez.
very good. All right, can I go
I did
next?
want
'Cause we'll never
Wait.
finish.
I did want to
We
say
got
Eddie
10 minutes.
Murphy. Eddie Murphy was invited and he declined. He didn't want to do it.
Well, he only had one hit at the time. Was it?
No, he
party all
was-
the time.
Well, apparently he was recording Party all the time at that time too. Barbara Streisand was there, and they cut her part out.
Oof. Can't imagine that goes down there. That goes down well.
She was supposed to. I forget who sang after Michael Jackson, but because originally it was supposed to be Prince after Michael Jackson, and then it was her.
It's Cyndi Lauper, wasn't it?
I'm not sure, but yeah.
Wow.
Good
What?
Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I won't go through everybody, but there was just so many people there that I felt really shouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
But it's like they were friends with Michael Jackson or Lionel Richie, and it's like whatever. All right. What do you have, Charlie?
So March the 3rd, in 1985, Moonlighting hits the TV screens, and TV was never the same again.
We're doing that again?
No, but I'm just mentioning it because I think it's worth mentioning for two reasons. One, because everyone forgets that Bruce Willis won an Emmy for it in 1987. Actually, three things. Two, it was completely spoiled at the end of season 3 by Mark Harmon. So yeah, thank you for Summer School, Mark Harmon, but I don't, not for ruining a great show. But I think it's poignant now to talk about it because obviously with Bruce Willis's condition, it's you know, to look back on that and think, do you know what? If I'd achieved what Bruce Willis did in the 80s and I think it's probably fair to say the 80s and the 90s. I know he did stuff after that, and I know there's, you know, but it's the law of diminishing returns with what he did. However, to lay claim to be one of the, you know, the greatest TV stars of the 80s in that sense, and one of the made some of the greatest movies certainly that live on. I just wanted to mention it.
One of the greatest TV stars, then?
That what David Addison in the 80s was pretty much ruled the roost. Again, sorry, did I not point out that he won an Emmy in? So as a character, David Addison is incredible. A really good character.
Well, it's tough because I would say he's got to compete against Bill Cosby and Sam from Cheers.
Sam from Cheers, absolutely. I mean, yeah, there's no way. Of course, there's competition, but from my point of view, the range and the kind of things that he had to do, and I know it's very easy to say, well, he played Bruce Willis as, you know, as himself. I don't think that was the case. I think he had to go through some very tough things. I remember the episode where he. This is one of those moments where you say, well, Tom Cruise is, you know, when we talked about this many times, Tom Cruise is a bona fide movie star, but you say, well, he can't really act as such, and then everyone brings up, oh, Magnolia, Born on the 4th of July, definitely can act. I think when you look when Maddie Hayes, played by Sybil Shepherd, loses the baby, that was his moment. That was a great moment. Oh, well, you've only had 40 years to watch the show, so you know, I think I can spoil that.
I didn't realize I forgot that she lost the baby.
Yeah.
Oh, damn it.
It's awful. You got Baby Love played by Diana Ross in the background as she's at the party, and she bends over and starts clutching him. Oh God.
Oh man.
Horrendous.
I ain't watching that episode again.
Yeah, it'll ruin Diana Ross for you for a while.
This conversation's got a bit dark. I tuned out briefly to Google dementia jokes to see if I could, weave one in a music way, and then come back and you talk about this. Bloody hell.
Right, okay, that's it. I'm out. Dom, it's over to you.
Rob,
don't do the dementia jokes.
Tom. Come on.
All right, well, I'm going to have to finish soon. So it was a prodigious week for 80s music. So on the 2nd of March, 85, Sade released Smooth Operator, my top 10 songs of the 80s. Diamond Life being I'm seeing some shaking of head going on.
Oh, I love it.
I do too.
We've got that and on heavy rotation, plus Your Love Is King. And if you've listened to the lyrics of that recently, but my daughter really likes that song and sings at the top of her head. And it's about a woman having an orgasm, so it's a bit awkward because she's 11. But obviously,
it's fine. I used to sing Like a Virgin, so it was fine.
Well,
I didn't realize
revealed that, isn't he, for us all?
Until Keith Richards just told us recently that Brown Sugar was about slavery.
Yeah.
I did have some slavery content for this pod, but Charles told me it'd be too dark, so I've scrapped that. But yeah, this was the anniversary of the largest ever slave auction in US history in 1859.
Oh, by the way, Turning Japanese by the Vapors. Dom's already used the word, so I can use it again. It's all about masturbation.
That one's a bit more obvious, isn't it? But
well, it's it's kind of like pitched to say, hey, it's a fun song that we'll sit around, but then when you actually sing the lyrics, all right, yeah.
It's a good thing I was too dumb to listen to the lyrics.
So back on the good music vibe.
Okay.
On the 2nd of March, 88, Graceland was awarded Record of the Year at the 30th Grammy Awards. Graceland, one
Yes.
album, right? Paul Simon. Yeah.
Absolutely, no question from me.
But I wanted to focus on the 1989 release of Like a Prayer by Madonna, which was on 3rd of March in that year. It's a controversial song at the time, maybe for some people still is, but I'm going to go, well, I was going to say, I'm going to be bold here and say that it's her best song. It was number one single in America for just under a month. Number one hit in the UK, Canada, Italy, Spain, Ireland, Poland, Portugal, Netherlands, Norway, Sweden, Switzerland, Denmark, Finland, Iceland, Australia, New Zealand, and Japan.
Wow.
And here's one for the listeners to mull over. So I'm going top 5 Madonna singles of all time. Like a Prayer, number 1. Material Girl, Vogue, Ray of Light, Like a Virgin.
Wow.
Maybe that closes down the debate. Perhaps that leaves nowhere for it to go.
Well, you haven't got Borderline at number 1, but I mean, we can start from there.
Yikes.
Yeah. Borderline.
Holiday.
Hung Up.
You're just contrarian again now. This is like you sticking up for Steven Seagal earlier. It's Borderline, the number 1 Madonna single.
Justify My Love. That's got to be top 5.
That's what
she pissed off so many people, especially back then, with that video, because it was like her in a church and I think
her getting assaulted, although I don't know if it was supposed to be that she was getting something more sinister, but yeah, she definitely got assaulted
But the Christians were pissed off of it. But I think it was that same album where did she do Papa Don't Preach?
No, that was on True Blue.
True Blue.
Okay. Yeah, because that one, like the pro-choice people would have lost their minds of today.
Right.
That she was singing that she was going to keep the baby,
Oh, yeah, the polarized world that we live in now is just, you've got to pick a side. You don't get a choice. Yeah.
I noticed nobody's sticking their hand up for Die Another Day then as a top Madonna song there.
No. I think that's dead last.
Not the worst James Bond song.
I remember watching that with Dom on a team day out, where basically the company paid for us to go eat somewhere nice. The Hard Rock Cafe, was it? Die Another Day, and went laser tag, and then paid for us to drink. Let's not mention the company, just in case it gets us into trouble. But yeah, we all went to watch Die Another Day. Oh my.
Do you remember that work trip when we were doing shots in the middle of the day and we tried to, we did bang on the side of that van taking that prisoner to court, and that nearly ended up in us getting arrested, and I fell onto the train. Do you remember that? I mean, it was very, very blurry. Yeah.
Okay, I don't remember that.
Oh yeah, drinking spirits.
He was probably equally as drunk as you, Dom.
Well, that company, which we won't name, we used to let you pool your annual fund budget and then go to Amsterdam for the weekend. Didn't it?
Really?
So yeah. I think.
Can you imagine that happening now? It just wouldn't happen, would it?
Can you imagine Dom at that time and rubbing his hands with glee, going, "Oh, we're going to Amsterdam."
Oh, the Christmas parties as well. The things that used to go on there were
Wow.
Some days. Yeah.
We're not allowed to mention those. Yeah.
It's quite funny because I saw a LinkedIn article about millennials now. I haven't got like a drink culture. Like
they do. They drink Evian and
they're all like, I'm not really into drinking, and no, I'm not really into sort of
Aperol spritz.
Yeah, I'll just go for cafe culture, and it's like, oh, get a life, come on.
You haven't vomited behind a youth club at the age of 14, with some cheap alcohol, and have you really lived? If you've not done these rites of passage, I just don't think you're prepared for adulthood, really.
Well, they do, don't they? They teach you a valuable lesson.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Explains how we won wars. We what they call the stoic British spirit. It always involves some sort of cheap meth based stuff. And it's great.
I always remember drinking Dutch imported lager, which was brewed on an industrial estate in East Yorkshire, and that was 6 cans of that and put hairs on your chest on a school night.
Oh, just wait till like Amy rocks up completely like blasted from alcohol.
Yeah, we've got a while to go yet. She's not even 13, but
not that far.
Oh, I started drinking at 15, so yeah.
Well,
anyway,
I had a bad episode at 14. Blame Captain Morgan.
Oh, the good captain.
Slept in the bath and ripped my sister to death. And she walked in the bathroom to find me, just half naked in the bath, asleep. She's like, "Gee, what are you doing in the bath?" And like realised I was completely out of my face.
But were you sleeping in the
thought-
bathroom?
I went to bed in the bath because I thought it was the better place, because if I was going to be sick, it would be easily cleanable.
I've done that plenty of times. You know, that's a very sensible approach to
Good
things.
logic,
See?
yeah.
And you're sleeping like upright as well, almost, aren't you? So if you are sick, you're not going to like, you know, do yourself a mischief.
Oh, Joe is just looking at us and going, "Oh well, they."
Oh no, I've
Yeah.
had bad episodes too. I mean, I know I came home on a St. Patrick's Day and I got wasted with people I didn't even know. Went to their
brilliant.
house
Best kind.
and they drove me home and I threw up in their car like all over. And I had my suit on and I threw up on my suit. And when they let me out, I just ripped off all my clothes. I was completely naked on my lawn. And because
Did they just
it
leave you
was
there?
disgusting. Yeah. Well, they didn't know me. I didn't know them. I felt horrible, you know.
Did you see them again?
Yeah, no, I had their phone number. I had one of the guy's phone numbers, and I called them up and I said, "I'll apologize." You know, I said, "Let me pay for the car, any damage that was done." But they were cool, you know.
All right.
They were fascinated in me because I was actually a working man, and they were like in college still, and they were like, I was like, "What are you doing tonight? Why don't you hang out with us?" And we went all over the place, and I got so wasted. And then I got so, you know, again, I vomit everywhere. I had a beard and a mustache. I had to shave it off before I went to bed because it was just like caked.
Before you went to bed.
Yeah.
That must have been fun. Like, what 1 in 6 actually hits?
I'm like hacked, bearded,
No, I used
dashed,
to-
like face in the morning, stinking of sick.
Look at me, I look like
You're
Don
like,
Johnson.
"Where the hell
No,
have
I
I
used to
been?"
No, I used an electric shaver.
Thank God it wasn't a cutthroat, because that could have ended badly. Couldn't it? So,
Yes, I got the thing out, started to. Yeah. All right, okay. Joe, you get the last one before we wrap this up.
Oh yeah, all right. So my other one was Star Wars ad on CBS, February 26, 1984. But I did want to discuss this other one. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, but I think this one is more interesting.
Okay.
CDs back on March 1st, 1983 were released for the first time in the United States.
Wow.
CDs.
Yeah.
Oh
See
my
those.
God.
And I was so looking forward to it because, you know, look, with albums, we had problems with them skipping. And then with cassettes, we had problems with them breaking and getting stuck in your car stereo. And we were told this was it. You're never going to have to worry about music skipping or breaking or anything, because now this is the future, the CD. Were they filling us a bunch of crap? Because
Yeah.
I had so many CDs that skipped that it was just so annoying. Oh, I hated them after a while.
They were quite good for recording, like on your computer, though, weren't they? Like holding information and stuff. It meant
Yeah,
that
but
you know,
it took
a while.
Took a while before that became affordable. I remember the first CDs that came out, hardly anything, and you were paying like 60, 70 £70.
you embraced it there, Charlie. It's fair to say, when the technology caught up, didn't you? You short of having a peg leg and a parrot on your shoulder, you couldn't have been a bigger pirate. I don't know. You might want to edit this bit out, perhaps. But yeah,
That's another good one, Dom.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you've left those behaviours long in the past. Anyway, so.
No, exactly. I would
Yes.
do that. Mind you, I was very inventive on how I did it, and thank goodness for Napster, because I think that was just going all
love
day,
Napster.
every day. When Jarman, our friend Dom, got, I was living with him, and because he had to support the company that we can't mention, he had to have an ISDN line put in, and at that point, to me, it was just like
That was
every
gold
single
dust.
business came at once, and he went, "Don't use it for doing that. Don't use it for getting music and stuff like that." And I was just like, "What else are you going to use it for?" So I managed to get him drunk and get him to agree that I can cane it. I'm not sure there was any other ISDN line in Nottingham that took that much.
We had to switch to backup nuclear, didn't we, when you started recording on that? Yeah, my God.
Yeah, CDs. Look at them the wrong way, and they suddenly scratch and then jump. Yeah.
It was great though. We had a documentary science program called Tomorrow's World, Joe, and it was all about things that were sort of advancing and technologies and different things. And if you go and watch it now, I imagine it's all on YouTube. Tomorrow's World. I imagine there's an
We'll put a link into
about the
when they
compact
do
disc
CDs.
on
Yeah.
Tomorrow's World. I bet that would be quite good to watch, because there was a lady on there, wasn't there? Not Maggie Philbin, but the other one with sort of fairly dark hair. What was her name?
As Maggie,
Anyway.
yeah.
Not Maggie Philbin,
Not
but
Maggie
the other one. Yeah, so it's great. And the way in which they predicted like homes of the future would be, that's good fun to watch.
In a similar vein, there's a brilliant interview between David Bowie for our American listeners and Jeremy Paxman talking about the internet and how,
well, that's amazing.
How prescient David Bowie was at the time. So we'll put that in our link.
Yeah.
And lure our listeners to YouTube if it kills us.
Yeah. No links on the audio. No chance.
But
Over to YouTube. Yeah.
But I love digital now. I mean, you can store thousands and thousands of songs on your phone. They never skip. They never break. I know there's those hipster groups that buy albums. Well, I know one of them, at least one of them, is on this podcast.
Absolutely. There's some absolute gems. I've got Goldmine, Joe. My collection's now worth over £10,000.
But do you listen to them?
Yeah.
There's some I can't listen to.
20,000 records.
There's some I can't listen to, and I can't unwrap.
Collector's items.
They're just collectors.
The collectors. Yeah, that's what I mean. I think a lot of them are collector's items, and then if you listen to it multiple times, you know it's eventually going to skip or it's going to scratch.
Yeah, but you can get things that the joy of the album. The joy of the album, I don't think can be replicated. I know I'm going to sound like an old man and stuff, but there's a lot of new audiophiles that are coming in and looking at vinyl and just going to put it on and not have the ability to go, now I want this, now I want that, now I want everything else. The beauty of just leaving it on and just getting the experience.
You can't even skip songs.
Why would you want to?
You can lift the needle.
You can lift the needle, yeah.
Prepare for
why
danger.
Would you do that? Well, why would you do that though?
Just lift it up with the thingy and then move it over a bit and then drop it down.
Look, heretics, don't move the needle. Just let it play.
What happens if you sneeze?
There's there's covers on it, and B, this is not the 1930s where they have the needle.
Gramophones.
Anything, yeah.
All I know is VHS is going to make a comeback, and I'm sure Charlie will be buying a VCR.
I had to chuck all mine out on the orders of another person on this podcast.
Yeah, and that can't have been easy.
It wasn't easy.
Right.
I kept a few. All the Disney stuff, all the wrapped collector's edition Disney VHS stuff. Yes, that's staying. That's worth a fortune. I think Beauty and the Beast, the edition I've got, is worth over £500 now. That'll just keep going up.
Amanda, I hope you're looking forward to your retirement when you're relying on Charlie's pension, which seems to constitute old VHSs and vinyl. Because, you won't be running that heater much in the winter. That's what I'm saying.
Is Beauty?
I suspect the mice have had it in my mum's attic in the garage.
Sounds like it's been chucked out, Charlie. I'd get up there next weekend if I was you and see if it's still there.
So the VHS copy of Beauty and the Beast is worth £500
because it comes in it comes with a booklet and a cell from the film.
Oh, okay.
One of the hand-drawn cells. It was like a limited edition. You just got what you got.
Well, that makes sense.
But each one of them is like limited. So
no, I remember when it came out.
Limited. Yeah.
No, I remember when it came out. The day it came out on VHS, I went to go buy it at Sam Goody in Manhattan, and this woman bought a case of them because she felt that one day they were going to be worth a lot of money. And I was like, well, if that's worth £500 each, but you're saying that this was just a regular VHS,
No. The regular VHS is in the middle as you open up. The booklet's quite big. The box, the box it comes in is really well done. And you open it up and the VHS is in the middle. It's got a different cover, not mentioned anywhere else, but it's still in its wrapper. So it's never been opened.
So you must have really liked Beauty and the Beast, huh?
I love it, yeah. It's my favourite Disney film. So that's it. That's an easy one.
I like Little Mermaid. I have an actual cell from the movie.
Well, we both see look at this is how the conversation goes. We end up.
But
with
that's it.
both
But
of us
what you have is not an actual cell; it's a reproduction.
It is. It's an actual cell.
I need proof.
Okay. Well, I'll see if the mice have got it. I'll see if the mice have actually chewed my inheritance.
And I have the voice of Ariel signed it too. And I also have the VHS of the Little Mermaid that has the penises all over it.
Of course, yes. And we'll leave that story for another day. Although go and look it up by all means, because it is good. There we go. Give us some feedback on whether or not you actually like this. I liked it. We never got through. I didn't even get through John Belushi dying and the ZX81 being released. That was the other things that I had. But I'm sure we could leave that for if we carry this on for this time next year. But anyway, this has been a special edition of one of many of Rusted Junk. So I hope you enjoyed it. Goodbye. Is everyone going to say goodbye in their own unique way?
Hasta la vista.
See ya.
Toodle pip.
Bye.